I've been told many times that I'm a good listener. It's so natural to me that until now I had never considered it a skill. But now I realize maybe it is, and maybe it's something one can learn. So, if you would like to be a good listener, here are a few tips for you. Tip number 1, love them. If you want to be a good listener, you have to love the person you listen to. I'm not talking about the romantic kind of love. Hello. I'm talking about the universal, unconditional kind of love, like we love everybody just because they exist. And this is not just theory, you need to really feel it in your heart. You need to really care about them, and they will feel it. Tip number 2, create a safe space in which they are free to talk. First, shut up. Don't say anything. Do not interrupt them. Just let them talk. Give them space. Second, give them your full attention. Don't do anything else while you're listening to them. Don't check your phone, don't do anything, just sit there, look at them, listen to them. At the same time, you need to keep a certain distance, energetically, physically, and emotionally. If you're all over them, invading their space, you will be like smothering them with your overbearing presence, and that is not good either. So you need to find the right balance between being close enough and caring, and at the same time maintaining a little bit of distance to give them some space. Maybe what could help you to find this right distance is to imagine a circle or a sphere around you that the other person is in too, like this. And this is the sacred space, and you are just upholding this space for them. You're not all over them, you're not holding on to them. No, you just uphold this space, and in this space they can be free to be themselves, and they can move, and they can have insights and understand things and talk through things, but you don't do anything, you just uphold this space. What makes this space that you're creating safe is you're assuming a neutral position. When talking to you, most people will want you to agree with them. But my advice is, do not do that. Don't agree with them. Don't disagree with them either. Just remain neutral and listen to them. And accept that whatever they're currently thinking or feeling is the truth for them at this point in time. Accepting does not mean that you agree or that you condone or approve of what they're thinking. It just means acknowledging the fact that this is, right now, the truth for them. It can be difficult for people to open up and talk to you, especially if it's about something painful or very private. I feel it's important to honor this by treating them with great care and respect. And this includes not judging what they're saying, not judging them as a person, not even judging their choices. They are going to feel so much safer with you if they know that you're not going to judge them, and that they are free to be themselves with you, and they are free to make mistakes and be human, and that you're not going to use their vulnerability to point your finger at them and judge them for their flaws and mistakes. Another point that I find very important is to not contradict the person you're listening to. I'm not saying you should be a people pleaser and agree with everything they're saying. Not at all. It's not about that. What I mean is that if what they're currently experiencing is their reality, their truth, then when you contradict them, you're basically telling them that they shouldn't think or feel the way they do, that they're wrong in some way. And this does not contribute to making them feel safe. Also, should will lead you nowhere. No amount of should will make them change their mind, quite the contrary. Of course, you can help them to see that maybe things are not the way they're currently perceiving them, but this comes later. First, you need to accept that whatever they're feeling and thinking is their reality, and you need to accept that it is okay. Along the same lines, I think it's important not to minimize what the person you're listening to is going through. It doesn't matter if someone else has it worse or if you think it's not that bad. That's not relevant. What matters is the person you're listening to and what they feel. To sum it up, creating a safe space for them to be in and talk to you in means upholding a space in which they're safe, in which they're free to be themselves, a space of acceptance and non-judgment and respect, with just the right mix of closeness and distance. Tip number 3, be fully present. If you're distracted or thinking about something else, you're not being fully present. Also, if you're busy analyzing the other person or what they're saying, you're not being fully present. If you're already thinking about what you want to reply, you're not being fully present. Of course, if you have ideas coming up, things you would like to say, make a mental note in some corner of your mind and keep it for later. You can talk about it in the second phase of the conversation. But for now, just let the thought go. Let it go. Just be present. Right here, right now, in this situation, with this person, and focus just on listening to them. Listening is so much more than just keeping your ears open and processing information with your brain. Listening can be a very deep experience if you're fully present. Tip number 4, listen with the intention to understand. If you want to be a good listener, it is very important that you have the sincere wish to understand the person you're listening to. Not just superficially understand what they're saying, but really understand them as a person. Understand where they're coming from, what the problem or conflict really is, what the situation really is that they're in, what their beliefs are about the situation, what their needs are, what their thoughts and feelings are about it, how they think, and what they really want. It's really important that you really try to find out all these things and that you focus on them and on understanding them more than on what you think about it. If any of this is unclear to you, I encourage you to ask questions to gain clarity about it. As a side effect, it can also be very helpful for the other person because it helps them to gain clarity. In the first phase of the conversation, you just uphold this loving space and you shut up and you listen and you ask questions to gain clarity. And you keep doing that until you feel that you have really understood the whole situation. Then in the second part of the conversation, you can offer some input. But the trick is to do that only when the other person is ready to actually hear it. It's so much easier to see the solution from outside when you're not involved emotionally in a situation. But when someone is stuck in this messy emotional drama, they're usually just not able to see it so easily. And if you just bring it up and just shoot at them with your solution or your ideas, it's not going to help because they're not ready to hear it. It's just going to make them feel like you're not really listening to them. Sometimes when we listen to someone, it's so clear to us immediately what they're doing wrong. It's so clear what logical mistake they're making or what limiting beliefs they have or what they could do to solve the problem. Of course, we can see that. But if they're not in the place where they're open to see that solution, I recommend against even bringing it up. When you do the listening and asking questions and all that properly, usually they will get to the solution themselves. They will come up with it on their own. And they will see what's going on. But I feel it's important to trust that they can do that themselves, and to just gently guide them there maybe, or just support them, just help them get there. But not bring it up before they're ready to hear it. As a listener, you're there to support, you're there to help. And the best way to help someone is to help them gain clarity about what they really want and how they can get there. It's going to be a lot more effective if they are the ones who come up with the solution themselves. Of course, you can offer your input and present your solution and make suggestions. Of course you can do that. But first you need to let them express themselves, express how they're feeling and how they're thinking and what the situation means to them. And then, when they have vented and expressed themselves, then they are more open to outgrow these situations. They are more open to go beyond it and find a solution to it. But it's an emotional process they're going through, and there is just no shortcut. So you need to respect that. You need to give them the space and the time to go through the whole process and be ready. Yes, it does take time, and it does take energy. But being a good listener also means being patient and having time. Tip number 5, do not give your energy away to them. I already talked a bit about maintaining certain distance emotionally, energetically, and physically, and I would like to stress this point again because I think it is extremely important. Keep your energy centered around yourself at all times and clearly separate from the other person's energy. You both are together in this safe space that you're upholding, but you are clearly separate. Don't allow your energy to flow to them. If you allow your energy to be all over the place and to merge with the other person's energy, you could pick up some negative stuff from them. This is going to make you feel bad, it's going to drain your energy, and it's really not serving you. Also, it is very important that you don't feed them with your energy. Sometimes we feel sorry for someone, or we just sincerely want to help them, and then we start feeding them with our own energy. This is very inappropriate, and it leads to a whole bunch of problems. For example, it can lead to unhealthy energetic connections at soul level that are established between you and the other person, where you keep feeding them your energy 24/7. This is very draining. In my healing practice, I routinely remove this kind of connections. It is not something you want to do. It's a great favor you're doing them just by listening to them and talking to them, giving them your love and your attention and your acceptance. And that's enough. You don't need to do more than that. Please do never give your energy away to them. Yes, listening is an act of service. But act of service does not mean being weak, or having no boundaries, or losing yourself, or giving your energy away to others. It does not mean that. Act of service means you have the honor to help and support them on their path, and that's great. But you still need to set appropriate boundaries, out of respect for yourself, and also out of respect for them. Because if you go and you invade their space, that is not respectful either. Trust that the person you're listening to is the powerful creator of their own experience. They are no victims. Do not fall into the victimization game. That is not healthy, neither for you nor for them. The second you see them as a victim, you disempower them, and that is not a service you'll be doing them. Also trust that they know what's best for them. I know this can be difficult. Sometimes we just think we know what would be best for them, but the truth is we don't know. Trust that they know best, and that they are doing what is right for them at this time. If you have this attitude of seeing them as empowered and capable, it will be much easier for you to maintain detachment and healthy boundaries. Sometimes the person you're listening to can get stuck in a negative place where they keep just ranting and venting and feeling bad about things and about themselves, and they will just be unable to see a more positive perspective or a solution. This can happen. In this case, you can politely interrupt them, and maybe by asking the right questions, gently bring them back to a more positive perspective. What's important is that you help them to get clear on what they want, most of all. However, maybe you will notice that some people just refuse to do that. They want the negativity and the drama, and they insist on being victims, and they will refuse to adopt a more positive perspective. These persons are very draining, and it is not healthy for you to listen to them for hours and hours, because it's not going to do you any good. It's just going to drain your energy. In this case, I recommend that you just end the conversation. They don't want to get better. They're not interested in solutions. All they want is your attention and your energy. And it's not good for you. Say no. Walk away. Listening is an act of love and kindness. It's beautiful. Your energy should be used to create a beautiful, pleasant experience, both for yourself and for the person you're listening to. Not to feed someone's ego and drama. To be a good listener, you need to open up and care and listen with all your heart, and you need to help and support them. But also set healthy boundaries and make sure you're not being abused. So, to sum it all up, love them, create a safe space of non-judgment and acceptance, be fully present, listen with the intention to understand, offer your input but only when they're psychologically ready to hear it, and never ever give your energy away to them.